A lot of our area schools wrapped up high school graduations yesterday. Moorhead, Fargo Davies, Fargo South, Fargo North. It's off to reality, Bonnie Amistadi.
A lot of college kids also have just recently graduated, and they have bills, just like the rest of us. Catherine Mars is a certified educational consultant with Mars College Admission Advisors. She assists teens and their families prepare for the college planning process. Good morning to you, Catherine.
You this morning.
Great, and you?
I'm just great.
Well, tell us, when do we start preparing for our college education for our children?
Well, I think you start preparing when the child is born, if at all possible, even if it's only putting away $15, $20 a month, putting away something to prepare for that day when your child does go off to college. And in today's day, you know, when children or students in high school are starting to look at the college process, they need to be looking at not only, you know, what they want to think about majoring in, but they also need to think about, well, what is a good return on investment? If I choose a major in history, should I go to a school that's cheaper than a school that's really expensive, where I might have to take out loans? Or should I consider maybe, if I'm really good at math and science, well, today engineering and computer science are two fields that are very lucrative when you get out of college and there are jobs. So I always caution students that, you know, have a frank discussion with your family and decide what is reasonable to spend on a college education. I think colleges do a disservice today when they don't help students, when they get to college, think about how to pay back their debt and how to manage the money they've been given while they're in college. So just like freshman seminars that many colleges offer now to help get students more college ready, they need to have a course on financial picture too, on how to help them prepare for paying back that debt and how to get a job while they're in college.
And the average college debt, about $37,000, if I read right?
Yes, it's like its student debt is $620 billion more than the total U.S. credit card debt today.
Wow, that number is phenomenal. Let me ask you, Catherine, because you know I'm 25 years removed from college, and this was not normal. But now is this the new normal for college students?
I hope not. I think that, you know, there was no financial aid, federal financial aid for students in the 70s. It wasn't until the 80s that colleges started receiving federal aid. And Bill Bennett, the Secretary of Education in the 80s under Reagan, he came up with a hypothesis. It's called the Bennett hypothesis. And it says, and it's been proven again and again, like in 2009 it was revisited, and in 2012 it was revisited, that says that the more financial aid that's given to a college by the federal government, the higher the tuition. And so what happens is that students who think they're getting a lot of money to go to college, well, it's really, you know, colleges didn't have to increase their debt. I mean, their tuition, except that they wanted to keep up with the Joneses. They wanted to make sure they had the highest climbing wall. They needed to provide salaries for people who were support staff versus professors so that they could have all the amenities that all the colleges are trying to attract students to attend their schools. So the financial aid stuff is not exactly on a fair playing field, I would say. And state schools are not always the answer. Students, if they have good grades, should look at private schools that will pay them to come to their schools because of their good grades and their high test scores. So many times you can go to a private college as cheaply or more cheaply than you go to a state school.
So
the students really have to research this.
Yeah, look around, keep your mind open, and do your homework is right. Yeah, I just had a recent college grad. She graduated from NDSU here in town, and she's going to owe $43,000, and she finished a year early. So we know that college is expensive. How do kids pay that back? You know, they might have a car payment, they have a cell phone, rent to pay. What would you advise them to do?
Well, do their best to budget their money and take two jobs if they have to. You know, we can't just release them from that obligation because that's not if you buy a car and you can't pay back the note, well, they take the car away. Well, you have to show some responsibility. There's no way to take your education away, but you do have to pay back your debt. And debt can be refinanced. In other words, there are lots of ways to renegotiate your loan, but you can't completely relinquish it.
Catherine Mars is a certified educational consultant joining us on Tom and Friends on a Monday morning as college graduation, high school graduations. Do you see this going the other direction? Do you see the debt load being reduced, or is this just going to get worse and worse?
Well, I don't see the debt load being reduced, but I do see that some colleges are going to go away, that there is not going to be a way to continue this path. And I do think that with Betsy DeVos in charge of the Secretary of Education, that you will see some significant changes. And there are schools out there, a few, that do not take on federal aid from the government, and their tuition is much less. Like if you look at Hillsdale College in Michigan, the debt load, kids don't take on debt. They don't have to get loans. They go there for a reasonable amount of money, and their tuition is about $20,000 less than most other private colleges. And they give merit scholarship aid. So there's no student that has debt when they go to Hillsdale.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. We all know that college is expensive. So thank you for your time this morning, Catherine. We do appreciate it.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me on your show.
Yep, some good advice there. Catherine Mars, certified educational consultant with Mars College Admission Advisors. Assist teens and their families prepare for the college planning process. Yes, start right away.
And we have links to her information at kfjo.com and the Tom and Friends blog page, also on Facebook and Twitter.
And like she said, even if it's only $10, $15 a month, start putting it away now.